YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you taking the time to click on the video today. It is greatly appreciated. If you haven't already or you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and leave a comment. It does a great deal for me as a channel, and I just greatly appreciate your support. We are here in College Football 25. We are in our relegation and promotion dynasty save with the Kennesaw State Owls. This episode is going to be a lot about the offseason recruiting, end of the season recap. As you can see here, Kentucky beats Texas A&M in the national championship. Kentucky fans, rejoice. I don't think I've ever seen Kentucky in a national championship before, which is one of the great things about this series. A lot of movement within conferences, a lot of teams playing different teams, and all those different things that are happening, which is fantastic. The other thing that I want to show you before we get into season stats is we went ahead and hired Joe Wood. He was the defensive coordinator at the University of Miami. He went 13-14 there, but his record against top 25 was 9-3, which is kind of crazy. So we hired him. It says he's a tactician. However, he has elite recruiter unlocked, and he has a national pipeline. I don't think I've ever seen a national pipeline before, so I'm very intrigued to see how that helps us moving forward. The only bad thing about him is he doesn't even have motivator unlocked, so the offseason jumps are going to be mainly up to me as the head coach to get those. Season stats. I thought I messed up by going ahead. I apologize if we have already went over these. We're going to go over them very quickly. We had Tomlinson at 167 for 291. He threw for just under 2,300 yards, 15 TDs to 11 interceptions. Just not good enough. But Tutton, who started the season as quarterback, did not do any better. He had 4 TDs to 5 interceptions. Just not great work from them. Running the ball, as you can see, we spread it out. Ashley had 135 carries for 598 yards, just under 607 touchdowns. Kramer, the freshman, came in, had 113 carries for 587 and 6 touchdowns. And then you have Tomlinson, who had 112 carries for 407 and 2 touchdowns. So spread the ball out a lot on the ground and in the air. 45 catches for Benyard and 2 touchdowns. Christian Moss had 40 catches for 672 and 4 touchdowns. Wallace had 32 catches for just under 500, 1 yard short at 499 and 5 touchdowns. Cook with 25 catches, 20 catches from Ashley, 23 from Kramer, 14 from Thomas. So just a lot of variety in the passing game as well. Tackling wise, middle linebacker Denelius Johnson led the way with 84 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a sack, 3 interceptions for him. Redding, our strong safety, had 74 tackles. Javen Williams, one of the best corners in the nation. He is a junior. He had 62 tackles. Scarver came in as a sophomore with 60. Paul with 59. The transfer superstar, 58 tackles, 1 tackle for loss for him. TFLs, we had Westmoreland for 16 TFLs, doubled the next closest of Hobson at 8. Story and Rux had 7, 5 for Green and Johnson. Sacks, 10.5 for Westmoreland, 8.5 for Story. Hobson had 6.5. Green had 4.5. Interceptions-wise, Javen Williams comes back and clips Washington Jr. for the lead in the interceptions with 7. Washington Jr. had 6, Johnson 3, Redding 3, Halum 2, and Scarver 1. So not a whole lot of turnovers. Let's see here. That's 10, 19, 22. 22 turnovers in the, I guess, through the air. We forced 2 fumbles, recovered 0. So those are the only turnovers that we got. Going through people who are leaving. As you can tell, nobody is transferring out. It's just graduation. The biggest guy that we're losing is Halum. He was a pretty solid corner for us at 80 overall. Everybody else, Hobson too, I guess he was one of the big ones as well. Our kicker at an 81 overall, our free safety at an 81-year-old, Rux at 79. He was on there. Benyard was a pretty big contributor on offense as well as Moss. But again, not anybody like crazy high that's transferring, crazy young that are transferring. So we're sitting pretty solid in the fact of we're just losing graduation players. All right, hours allocated here. We have 525. This athlete run stopper I have coming in week 1, just really trying to push this recruitment to be over so I can use these points elsewhere. Lindstrom should commit after this week. He's been dragging his feet. Knight should be pushing towards the recruitment being finished as well as a kicker. And then we really are trying to go after this left outside linebacker. Why? I'm unsure, to be quite honest with you, but we'll see what happens after this week. If this week doesn't work, we're going to take his points and allocate them elsewhere. Cabedina is going to commit, so is Latimer. This athlete run stopper at Livings is going to be interesting. We can only afford to put 10 hours on him over Western Michigan, so we'll see how that plays out. And then this deep threat wide receiver should be ours as well, pending on one of these other schools kind of jumping in at the end. Then we go down to our transfers. We are really looking to shore up our defensive side of the ball. We need a lot of linebackers, and we need right ends. So you're going to see that we have a lot of both of those. We did add some juniors here. They're probably going to be gone or we're going to be locked out because we just don't have the hours to give to them. So we gave a lot of hours, or all of our hours, to middle linebackers and right ends and left outside linebackers in this week. All right, here we are in the last week. I'm keeping 5 points on these guys. I don't really know why. I'm gonna take all 5. I'm gonna take 5 off of everybody. These guys should be committing. There's nobody else chasing them. Nobody else has scholarships out on them, so we should be able just by default for them to commit to Kennesaw State. And what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to ensure that we are going to get these transfers. And I'll show you kind of the battles here in a second once I get all this planned out, which one is the closest and the one I'm most worried about. This one probably. Okay, so he was on a visit last week and Rutgers still had more than us, so we went ahead and upped the game a little bit. We did only have 40 points on him, so we added 15 hours. And then Atkins, we're pulling away from Texas, so he's not going to come on a visit. We had Hazelwood on the visit with Tate last week. We are having Johnson come in this week. We're not going to have Turner III come in on a visit. We feel pretty comfortable with him. Tackett Curtis came in last week with the other two. We are going to have Foa come in with Merriweather this week, as well as Johnson. So that is kind of the last-ditched effort here. We did have Okiki commit to us last week. So we got one of our transfers down, and hopefully we get the rest because that's going to really shore up our defense and give us some depth, which we very, very poorly need. All right, we're going to start with the guys we lost out on. It is National Signing Day. We have 25 targets. We lost 4, so we got 21 players in. We needed 23, so we're still going to be a little short-handed on depth-wise, but we are starting to slowly build some pretty solid base grounds here at Kennesaw State. Edward Camper, left outside pass coverage guy, 82 Speed is really where we're going with for him, but he's a normal dev, so we didn't miss out on that. Athlete power back, 91 speed. He was going to be more of our fullback style guy. Impact, so a little bit of a miss there, not terrible. As you can see how close we were. Georgia Tech beat us out in the last week. Normal for Jacob Johnson. We brought him in on week 4. Was not enough to take over the Raging Cajuns. And Tackett Curtis. Pass coverage middle linebacker, had star development as a transfer sophomore middle linebacker. So that is obviously a huge miss for us in the transfer portal. But what can you do, right? That is not what I wanted to do. All right, to focus on our guys now. Roland Marvin, middle linebacker, run stopper, 85 speed, not the fastest guy, but listen, on our defense, we need that 85 speed. He has elite dev. He more than likely is going to step on the field and play almost right away. Elite dev is huge. Josh Wilkes, right guard. He only has impact, which is kind of a boring one, but a star kicker with 92 kick power. I don't think I've ever seen a star kicker. That is awesome. I love that. Then we have athlete run stopper normal. Not great. 86 speed, though. Just won't progress very well. Elusive back, impact from slot corner. Normal for another run stopper that we picked up. Impact for deep threat. Impact for our scrambler and Dunlop, who had 95 throw power, 89 speed. So he might quickly step in and become our starting quarterback, where we might need to do some moving around on other pieces. Eric Connor is normal and a right outside linebacker, star for the scramblers, Singletary. However, he's probably going to go play somewhere else, to be quite honest, with that 85 speed. And then normal for Flanagan, a left end, impact for this right tackle, And then Abukum, right end. He does have a platinum road dog, which is pretty cool. And he's an impact. He's impact with a bust. Interesting. I like that. And then our transfers, impact from Okiki, normal from Tate, impact for Atkins, impact for Hazelwood, normal for Turner III, normal for Foa, and Merriweather has impact. So not a terrible transfer portal by any means. We're going to go ahead and see. We were by far the highest in the independents. UTEP only got 9? That is crazy work. Top 50 class, not terrible at all. All right, we are here. The conferences are shaken up a little bit. It's not the cleanest way to show you this at this point in time. I will clean it up and show you exactly what the conferences look like in game here in a few minutes after we get done talking about this. So we did talk about this in the last episode a little bit, but I just want to give you a visual on what it kind of looks like. So Conference USA is the lowest tiered conference. The two that made the conference championship is New Mexico and Tulsa, so they are going to move up to the MAC. And then the 3 teams that are falling this year because of the fact that the independents goes off their record. So whoever has the best record in the independent, which was us in this case, was 7-6. We get to take on the lowest record of the Conference USA. So I think it was like 2-10 was the lowest. So we have a better record. We get to get moved up to Conference USA. The same thing with Kent State and UTEP. They each had 4. Kent State had 3 wins. UTEP had 4 wins. And respectfully, Coastal Carolina and Old Dominion had 3 wins. So they get to jump up and have the privilege of going to Conference USA with us, and Northern Illinois, Old Dominion, and Coastal get to go down. In the MAC, Temple and Georgia Southern get to move up. Air Force and Colorado are going to drop to Conference USA. Arkansas State, and Charlotte get to move up, as UMass and San Jose get to move down. Mountain West, FAU and Texas State get to move up to the Sun Belt, and Wyoming and Western Kentucky get to drop to the American. Then we are to the Sun Belt. Louisiana and Marshall get to move up to the Pac-12. Arizona State and Wake Forest get to drop to the Mountain West. The Pac-12, Cincinnati and Washington State get to move up to the ACC. BYU and Maryland move down to the Sun Belt. The ACC, Illinois and Tulane, they get to move up to the Big 12. UTSA and Arizona get to move down to the Pac-12. In the Big 12, we had Kansas State and Kentucky. Kentucky was the eventual champions in this save. They get to move up to the SEC. Colorado and Washington get to drop to the ACC. In the SEC, Clemson and USC, they get to move up to the Big 10. And Oklahoma State and Wisconsin get to drop to the Big 12. And then finally, because the Big 10 is the highest one, the two that got into the Big 10 championship stay in the Big 10. They don't get to move up anywhere. And that is and then South Carolina and Miami both went 1-11 in the Big 10. So they dropped to the SEC. So those are the changes that are going to be made. Again, I'll show you in game a little bit what those are going to look like once they are all settled. I will also get this cleaned up a little bit, and you can see it on the spreadsheet as well. Here is the look at the cleaned up version, just showing you at the bottom of who got moved up and who got moved down. This is also going to be what the conferences look like next year. That is going to be the end of this episode. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to click on the video and hang out with us during the off season. This is kind of the chaotic part of this particular series. And the custom conferences will be made. We'll start next episode in the preseason with what we're going to do recruiting-wise, and also with what our schedule looks like now that we are in a conference. And so I appreciate you taking the time to click on the video today. If you haven't already, or you're new to the channel and you made it this far, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment. It helps me out a lot. I greatly appreciate your support. As always, I hope you have a good day. I hope you had a great day. Spread the word. Peace.